unique vision. The RAK DAO ecosystem for blockchain and digital assets.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about RAK DAO, RAK Digital Assets Oasis. RAK DAO was created about 18 months ago. And you've already heard from some of my colleagues earlier. Thank you, Dr. Marwan, for reminding everyone that there is more to the UAE than just Dubai. We all love Dubai, but we all love what the UAE has created, including Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, etc., etc. So I will start with the basics, because I always attend some of these events and people ask me later, you didn't tell us exactly what is RAK DAO. So as some of you know already, so RAK DAO is created to focus only on one thing, and that is the digital and virtual assets space. The whole idea is really to create a free zone focused on digital and virtual assets with an ecosystem that supports the companies that come to our hub to absolutely accelerate, go from 0 to 100 in the quickest possible time, give them all the support they need to be successful, create a set of regulations that helps these companies. And let me remind you again that we created RAK DAO so that the UAE in general can offer A to Z of solutions in the space. There's already Dubai Vara, there's already ADGM, focused on the regulated activities, focused on the virtual asset service providers, but not the wider space, which is way bigger than that, in blockchain, Web3, etc., etc. So that's why when we say we do not license regulated activities, we did that for a purpose. And also to make sure that these smaller companies, the startups, the technology companies that actually provide services sometimes to the regulated companies can have access to bank accounts and all the support they need to be successful. Ras Al Khaimah, I have to put a slide because very often people ask me, where is Ras Al Khaimah? So part of my job is to also be the tourism authority and explain that Ras Al Khaimah is 45 minutes away. Literally, my zone in Ras Al Khaimah is 45 minutes from here. So think of it as a suburb of Dubai, if you like, if that's easier, but has phenomenal advantages because not only is it a beautiful Emirates with mountains and the desert and the sea and so on, but the cost of doing business is literally 50% of Dubai. Cost of living is literally 50% of Dubai. These are really important advantages, especially for the younger companies, startups, and so on in this space. And the quality of life is wonderful because it's not as busy and crazy as Dubai. Again, I love Dubai. I've been here 37 years, but you know, Ras Al Khaimah today reminds me of Dubai 25 years ago and all the opportunities that that gives you. So when we were creating RAK DAO, we said, what are the challenges in this space? What are the challenges that most of the companies in this space continuously face? Whether it's access to talent, liquidity. Very often they do chase areas where they are less expensive, but they end up in the wrong jurisdictions, let's say, where life quality is low, where infrastructure is bad, where even access to things like the internet is a bit of a challenge. So that's why when we created RAK DAO, we had to think of all the challenges that companies face in this space. Regulations, clarity, consistency, and so on are very important. And of course, very often, very high taxation, whether it's income tax, corporate tax, or capital gains tax. So what's the solution? A jurisdiction as amazing as the UAE, supplemented by a free zone that's focused on this space that tackles some of these challenges. So you have regulations for the regulated activities, the VASPs and so on. Let's have regulations for the unregulated activities. You know what I mean. And then access to an ecosystem that helps these companies hire the right people, access to capital, so on and so forth. So these are, on the one hand, simple, but on the other hand, it takes time to create and perfect solutions like this. And after 18 months, I would say, we're well on the way to achieving that. How do we operate? So most free zones, and this is not to degrade in any way other free zones, most free zones give you a license and say, see you next year when you come back for renewal. or will be chasing you for renewal. The whole idea from creating RAK DAO was to focus on the ecosystem, was to focus on creating solutions that will help these companies to grow, and not just to get a license and then they're on their own, and a lot of them will fail, particularly in this space, particularly in the blockchain Web3 space that you all know very well. So it was about making sure that the regulations are very clear, that they are balanced and supportive, and that's, I think, what we should spend a minute on, because that's what the UAE has done extremely well. Most countries around the world either shied away from crypto, blockchain, Web3, and so on, or blatantly said no. We took a proactive approach. We took the approach of, let's understand it, and let's be welcoming and open, but let's get the regulations right. So, and that's a tricky, fine balance, because if you're too open, you're going to invite trouble. If you're too strict, you're not going to get anyone to come and play in this space. So getting the balance right is very important, and actually by having all these solutions, from VARA to ADGM to RAK DAO, provides such a platform. And then back to the ecosystem, and I'll keep saying it often, over and over again, because that is a key differentiator, and that ecosystem continues to grow with different pillars that helps all these companies achieve success. So whether it's comprehensive legal and compliance support, whether it's support with business growth and go-to-market strategies, whether it's support with banking, whether it's helping connect startups and a lot of these businesses to funding support. So this year you will see a lot of accelerator programs started up, incubators, funding, and so on happening in RAK DAO. And then we continue to grow the partnership and businesses that we cooperate with. But also, one of the things that we spent a lot of time on right at the start was to get the business activities right. And some of the free zones will literally offer a software license or a software development license, which frankly means nothing. So we made sure that we spent enough time to focus on the types of activities that you want to run your businesses, and that you and your customers would actually understand and appreciate. So whether that's in blockchain and DLT development, whether it's metaverse, gaming, e-gaming, because as you know, we have a casino coming, whether it's the incubators, agents. So one of the licenses were activities were recently added was an AI agent, which I think is a first in the world, which is attracting a lot of attention. So on and so forth. So really getting the activities right is very important. But I also mentioned earlier that we focused on the unregulated activities. That doesn't mean there isn't much more that we can do. So take DARE as an example, Decentralized Autonomous Regulations, the wrapper that we launched for DAOs, is a world first as well. So to create a legal wrapper in the UAE for DAOs is an absolute first, and took a lot of time, was a bit of a challenge, but we got there. And again, it's been an incredible success as interest grows and people actually get to understand how does it work and so on. So I will need to keep moving fast. Yeah, so I wanted to share this with you, not because I wanted to advertise prices at the bottom, but it's because I wanted to reiterate the point that we don't sell licenses, we sell packages. And the packages mean you get more than just a license. Remember I said we don't just give you a license and say, see you next year? No, we give you a license and say, how can we work with you? How can we help you achieve your objectives? So the simplest type of packages are the launch packages, which literally just give you the license and access to what we call traditional partners, which is this, if I can share that with you. So that means banking. Banking is very important, but we've created amazing relationships with the banks. And because the banks immediately see us as providing licenses for unregulated activities, it's a lower risk for them. So they are always more open to actually opening bank accounts for companies licensed by RAK DAO. And I think we have a success rate of over 90%. There's always going to be some that don't work because the client doesn't cooperate or doesn't provide the information or something comes up in KYC and so on. Legal support. And again, a lot of these companies, they're very techy and they fall when it comes to either legal or accounting and any of those things. So we support them on that side too. And then the Engage package, which provides even more access and support. The other package that is probably our biggest selling is the Accelerate package. And of course, the prices go up as you have more access to the ecosystem. But think of it in another way. The ecosystem actually provides a lot of value. So if you're paying, let's take as an example, 22,000 dirhams, which is what, $6,000, you get benefits through the ecosystem of $6,000 to $15,000 through all the companies on that side, and that's just a very short example of the ecosystem partners that we have, through credits, through discounts, through all sorts of things. So at the end of the day, you have a license from RAK DAO supported by a package that net cost to you is probably zero. Who would say no to that? So that gives you just an idea of how we like to operate at RAK DAO. It's not a license, it's a package with a lot of ecosystem partners, support, and so on. And I am going to leave you with one you didn't expect. So, because very often people say, oh, Ras Al Khaimah, I mean, what am I going to go do there and so on. It is a wonderful place, and it's not busy, crazy busy like Dubai. And I mean, if Times Magazine calls it the world's greatest place, who am I to disagree with that, right? So obviously there's a lot of great things happening in Ras Al Khaimah, and in 5 years' time, you will not even recognize it because the casino opens in 2 years. We expect 5 million visitors a year after that. We're at 1.1 million today. So imagine the impact. Anyway, with that, I am going to leave you. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you'd like to know more about RAK DAO, please come and talk to me. And honestly, I have a fantastic commercial team that is always accessible. I know that because when I wake up at 2 in the morning and send a message, somebody always replies. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you in Ras Al Khaimah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samir. Thank you. Wow.